No one likes red tape, and that includes the Vatican. Pope Francis is creating an economic secretariat to control all the Holy See's economic, administrative, personnel, and procurement functions. But Monday's announcement also means that the Vatican will conduct a major overhaul of its outdated and inefficient bureaucracy. The overhaul is considered long overdue. Australian Cardinal George Pell was named prefect of the new economics office. He'll report to a new 15-member economy council made up of 8 cardinals reflecting various parts of the world. 7 lay experts will take part as well. Francis was elected pope a year ago on a mandate to reform the Vatican.
U.S. spies have switched their attention to German officials instead of German Chancellor Angela Merkel. The switch has come to light in the aftermath of President Obama's promise to stop spying on national leaders. Obama made that pledge in a recent nationally televised speech, but despite his assurances, the U.S. National Security Agency apparently has stepped up surveillance of senior German officials. That's according to the German newspaper Bild am Sonntag. The paper added that the NSA may have nearly 300 employees stationed in Germany and was surveying about 320 key individuals. Most of them are German decision makers involved in business and politics. Wasting no time, Russian state television used the end of the Olympic Games to launch a scathing attack on ousted Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych. State television media figure Dmitry Kiselyov accused the ousted leader of betrayal while saying that Ukraine may be on the brink of civil war. Meanwhile, Western leaders believe Russia is worried about losing its influence over Ukraine, a region considered to be the cradle of Russian civilization. Some observers wonder if Russia will use force to prevent Ukraine from forging closer ties with the European Union.
Now that Moscow-backed Viktor Yanukovych has been ousted, Ukraine's new interim president has big plans. In remarks on Sunday, acting President Alexander Turchinov pledged to steer the country toward European integration. Former President Yanukovych fled to a region in the Russian-speaking East after intense, sometimes deadly street protests rocked the capital city of Kiev. The constant protests aimed at toppling him basically succeeded. The nation's parliament named Turchinov as interim head of state. He planned to swear in a government today that provides authority until a presidential election on May 25th. Sri Lanka's government failed to internally investigate civilian deaths during its long conflict with a separatist group. That's what the UN's human rights chief said Monday in Geneva. And because Sri Lanka failed to act, Navi Pillay recommends an independent international inquiry. The inquiry would look into war crimes committed by both sides during Sri Lanka's 25-year civil war with the Tamil Tiger separatist group. The conflict ended in May of 2009. The UN chief's remarks come ahead of a UN Human Rights Council debate next month. The U.S. plans to propose a resolution against Sri Lanka at the meeting. Sri Lanka is calling the UN and U.S. measures political and intrusive.
Access to medical care in Afghanistan remains severely limited and poorly adapted to meet the needs of the ongoing conflict. That's according to Doctors Without Borders. The doctors group did add that some progress has been made over the last decade of international investment. But the group regrets that humanitarian aid decisions have been influenced by political and military objectives instead of Afghans' pressing needs. Those needs are considered largely unmet as war still ravages many parts of the country. Even Venezuela's opposition leaders are having trouble controlling the most radical of the protesters who seek to topple President Nicolás Maduro. In Caracas yesterday, some of the anti-government protesters set fire to trash and put up barricades. They did this despite the opposition's call to cool down the street actions, which have led to 13 deaths in the nation's worst unrest in a decade. According to government sources, 529 people have been charged over the unrest. Most were given warnings, but at least 45 are behind bars. About 150 have been injured. The trash burning and other aggressive actions came despite peace overtures made the day before by opposition leader Enrique Capriles.
Have you ever heard of a government resigning? On Monday, Egypt's interim government basically did so in a surprise move. That paves the way for distrusted Army Field Marshal Abdel Fattah el-Sisi to declare his candidacy for president. Egypt's people have ousted two previous leaders, Hosni Mubarak and Mohamed Morsi. Mr. Morsi was toppled in July, after which a crackdown killed hundreds and jailed thousands. Critics now fear that Cairo's military-backed authorities will turn the clock back to the Mubarak era. That era was marred by a political elite which ruled with an iron fist in alliance with big business. Interim President Adli Mansour has been running Egypt until upcoming elections take place. The government did not give a clear reason for stepping down prior to the elections.